Hey everybody, and welcome to The Void, a show dedicated to filling the void between being an employee and becoming self-employed. Most people refer to starting your own company as taking the leap, as if they're blindly jumping off a cliff and into the unknown. This show is here to help you understand that it doesn't have to be that way. As always, if you like what you're hearing on the show, please do us a favor and help share The Void with someone who might also be wanting to start their own company. We saw an opportunity to help others understand that self-employment is well within your reach. And just as our businesses have grown organically and by word of mouth, we want this show to grow the same way. So if you see somebody asking questions about starting their own service-based company, please do us a favor and drop them a link to the show. I'm your host, Mitch Smedley, and with me as always is David Hilton.
Mitch.
David.
I'm tired.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're old.
I know.
I know why you're tired. You spent all weekend driving your new hot rod around town.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything. Have I said anything?
I like giving gifts. So
Have I said anything on the show?
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't say one fucking thing about it.
You did. A couple of shows ago you mentioned it.
I said I bought my wife something nice for Christmas. That's all I said.
67 Camaro.
68. 68 Camaro RS, and then it's badged as an SS.
350, 4-speed.
Yeah.
Sounds badass.
It's almost completely restored. I brought it over to Mitch's on, what was that, Sunday?
Sunday.
Sunday was nice out.
Yeah.
That was the first time we'd had it out.
Yeah.
I worked on it. The carburetor was a little rough, but got it all out. It is a bad piece of machinery.
Trying to get my dog to jump up in it or something.
It is a nice car.
Yeah, it's cool.
My wife, I've seen her, we've been married, it'll be 19 years. I've seen her cry like 3 times ever. She's like cold, like calculated, always has been that way. She cried for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like she's wanted one since she was like 15 years old.
Right.
16 years old. She came in the barn, lost her mind. Loved it. It is a cool-ass car.
That's cool.
Maybe I'll take a little video of it.
That's when you know.
Do a little short on the Void.
There you go.
Yeah, that's when you know
Facebook
you have a good present when you gotta come outside to see it.
Come out to the barn.
You just know.
She's thinking you got her a horse.
Yeah. Yeah, right. She'd have shot that horse. Layla made her a little...
I wanted horsepower, not horses.
Yeah. Layla made her a little scavenger hunt, like around the house.
Oh, yeah?
And so the clues were like, I helped her with some were good, but some of them were just really, I mean, they were bad.
Look left.
Yeah,
she's 9, so.
Yeah, she's 9. But, so eventually, she's like, okay, I guess we're going to the barn. Like, she's all sad, like pouting, like, oh, I guess we're going. Oh, like, we're going to the barn. We're all going. Everybody load up. My sister's in town from Colorado, so like their little kids there. Everyone's down in the barn waiting. And she's like, okay, all this and that. Oh, we're gonna go. It's cold. It was cold.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell she wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And then like 2 seconds after, oh my God, it's so awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was awesome.
That's cool.
It's pretty badass.
Then all of a sudden, like, she never mentioned anything about the cold. It's like she goes out in like t-shirt and jeans. It's like, I'm fine.
She completely
doing snow angels.
Had lost her mind, did a 180, and then so.
That's a lot better than the gift I got Danielle. I didn't get her anything.
Yeah, you did.
You gave her yourself.
That's right.
Yeah. I wrapped myself
48
up.
seconds of it.
Yeah. All 48 seconds of me. Yeah. That's what I got her.
It's probably longer than 48 seconds.
We rarely get each other Christmas gifts. We don't do that much. So
yeah,
tweaking his high score.
Yeah,
we really don't either. Like, so she'll buy gifts, for me from Layla.
Yeah,
and I'll do same thing.
Yeah,
and then we really just don't ever get each other anything. She was like, I thought you redid the patio furniture. I was like, no, I didn't redo the patio. I'd rather buy the car than redo the damn patio furniture.
That's funny.
You can have the car instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun.
So now this year you're going to be like, well, I got to do something.
Oh, no, she ain't getting shit next year.
Yeah.
You just let her know, like, hey, the next 3 or 4 years is going to be kind of poopy.
Don't ever get into the top it scenario where you got to top what you did last year.
You can't do it. I'm out. It's over for me. I'm done.
Yeah.
I can never top that gift.
Well, at least it makes it nice. You don't have to worry about, like, for the rest of your life. I don't have to be like, oh, I've already hit the peak.
Yeah, like, even if we were millionaires, multimillionaires, and I bought her, like, a private jet, that gift wouldn't mean as much
as this.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. As the gift I bought. It doesn't have to do, it has nothing to do with the money.
Yep.
It's that it's something that she had always wanted.
I'm a horrible gift giver. Like I bought a book. Like, I think it's called The Art of Gift Giving. I haven't read it yet. But
you've read all those other shitty-ass, stupid business owner books, and you haven't read that book.
No, but that's one area that I want to do better in, because really good gift givers, like, that's a sign that they're really, really in tune with, like, what the other person would like. Yeah. And so I want to get better at the gift giving thing. So I'm going to, I got to brush up on those skills.
Rule one is like getting someone a gift that is for them and not for you.
Yeah.
Like for me, like when I shop for my dad.
You mean like a 68 Camaro?
Oh, no. I wanted a boat. I wanted to spend the money on a boat.
See, my dad, he likes practical stuff. So getting him like one of those cell phone holders that like suction cups to the windshield. Right. Like for me, I'm like, but for him, it's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
He loves the practical stuff.
The best gifts are the ones that are super cheap, but they hold on to forever.
Right.
Like, you know that was something that they really wanted or could really use. You know what I mean?
So when we went deer hunting this year, my dad, we're trying to load a four-wheeler up onto a trailer, and he's got these, like, 40-year-old ratchet straps that are all dry rotted. And, like, one of them
refuses to buy new ones.
Yeah, one of them breaks in half, and so he ties it together. And I'm like, if it broke there, what makes you think it's not going to break somewhere else? Like, it's time for new straps. First off, they're still good.
I'm with your dad. Yeah. Tie that bitch.
So I got him new ratchet straps for Christmas, and that will be a gift that he'll have forever, simply because he'll never throw those away. Like, proof being his old ratchet straps, he never threw them away. Yeah. So
that's a meaningful gift.
You know what he said was? He said, when my current ratchet straps give out in about a year, I'm going to start using these.
I would have went out to his garage, rounded them up, and threw them in the trash.
My mom told him those don't even come into the house until the old ones are in the trash. Four-wheeler go flying into somebody's windshield behind us.
Trying to save $1 on two straps.
Yeah. All right, so today's show, we are going to talk about the... This episode is brought to you by Field Pulse, the official field service management software provider of The Void. Field Pulse allows you to organize your customers, your employees, your jobs, and your revenue with ease. Field Pulse is the perfect option no matter if you're a business of 1 or 100. The pathway through business ownership. So most of the time, if you're considering starting your own business, you're in some form of sales in one way or another. Maybe you sell real estate and you're wanting to open up your own brokerage. Maybe you sell air conditioners and you're wanting to open up your own AC company. Maybe you sell camera equipment and you're wanting to open up your own studio. Like, who knows, right? Or maybe you're just maybe you're not an HVAC salesperson. Maybe you're selling HVAC repairs. You're an HVAC repair tech, or you're a plumber that's selling plumbing repairs. We're all salesmen to some degree. But if your job is to sell those things, usually those are the types of people that have the mindset that they want to start their own company. And so you need to get good at sales before you're going to start your own company, right? Because literally sales run businesses. That's businesses thrive on sales, so you have to have sales. So the pathway through business ownership is it starts at sales, and then you move into self-employment, and that's where you're doing everything. And then you transition into CEO, where you're calling the shots and you have a whole network of people doing everything. And then the end-all be-all would be like investor, to where you stay on at the company, but you hire a CEO to run the company, and now you're reaping the financial rewards of the company without having to do any of the work. And some people skip the investor step. Some people work, sales, self-employed, CEO, and then sell the company.
Or stay CEO.
And that's just where they work forever.
Yeah, they get themselves they make $150,000 a year, and then whatever's left at the end, they get the investor portion also, and then when they're ready to retire, they sell that or groom someone else to take, their place.
Right.
Especially in the service industry. Yep. I feel like that's, it's moving more towards the investor / sell the company. But, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that's what it was. You built it up and you just worked there till you were done and either gave it to a son, a daughter, or, just groomed someone to take that spot.
Yeah. And you could stop at any one of these levels.
Right.
You could, and there is, technically a level above the investor side would be selling the company off, which is reaping the investor rewards, like what you said. But you could stop at sales. You could never transfer over into self-employed. You could stop at self-employed and never hire people on, and therefore never be running a team of people and never really be a CEO, so to speak. You could stop anywhere. But it does you good to understand that pathway. Because what will happen if you don't understand that pathway, then inevitably what happens is somebody will start complaining that the business is too much for them. They'll start saying between doing all the actual work and then having to deal with marketing and accounting and bookkeeping and taxes and vehicle repairs and just all of the things that go on in a business, it'll overwhelm them and it'll become way, way too stressful. And that's the classic example of somebody who doesn't understand the pathway through business. And so, ironically, somebody I'm on a Facebook group for home service business owners, and somebody had posted a very, very similar gripe on that group. And it's a very real gripe. And they said, how do you guys do it? I see a lot of people on here being successful, but I'm so busy working and doing all the actual work that by the time I come home, I don't have time to do the bookkeeping and the accounting and the invoicing and the scheduling and the dispatching and the
they're out of gas.
Yeah,
they're just out of gas.
They're out of gas. They're too busy turning wrenches doing the physical work that they can't do the behind the scenes work.
Yeah, and when you're 28 and 30 and 32, it's fine. You can do it. You're just, here I go.
Yep.
And you get to be about 40 and you're like, you know what? Fuck this.
Yep. I'm out.
I feel it.
So I'm privileged to be in this group because there are some incredibly successful people in this group. One of the people that replied to his post was a man by the name of Ken Goodrich. He is the CEO of Gettle Air Conditioning. If you don't already know who he is, pause this show and Google Ken Goodrich. I won't tell you too much about him other than his business does $100 million a year in sales. So he knows what the fuck he's talking about. And so his reply was that the problem is you're doing too much of the work and you don't understand the pathway through business. He says the business is not the product you provide or the physical work that you do. The business is a system made of processes inside 7 centers of management attention. And those centers of management are leadership, management, money, marketing, lead generation, lead conversion, and client fulfillment. Client fulfillment is the physical work. Client fulfillment is the turning of the wrenches, the installing of the AC, the installing of the water heater, the cutting of the hair, the detailing of the car. It's whatever work you do, it's the physical nature of the work. That's client fulfillment. And Ken Goodrich, $100 million company. So these are kind of like corporate-y terms, but he's basically describing all of the things that go on in the business. And it's your job as the business owner to build the system so that your employees know what to do in order to profitably deliver your services to your customers. The actual work is only 1/7 of the system. He says 14%, but it's 1/7 of the system. As a business owner, your job is to build the system, not to do all the work. So build the system first. And that's where he left his out. And basically what he's saying is you need to grow your business to a point where you're not the one doing all the work. And essentially, that's kind of everybody to a certain level. Even if you're a one-man show, you need to build your system in a way to where you could be a one-man show, but you have a part-timer that's answering the phones for you. Well, that right there is a huge load off your back, because it's impossible to deliver a customer phenomenal service when your phone's ringing off the hook in your pocket. Because now you got two customers and you're giving one of them the FU button. Right? You're either stopping talking to the customer that you're talking to answer the phone, or you're ignoring the phone and giving that person bad service so that you can give the customer you're talking to good service. So, having somebody to answer the phones is imperative to alleviating a lot of that stress that you have whenever you're feeling overwhelmed. Having somebody to do your bookkeeping is another imperative thing to alleviate a lot of that stress. And that's what he's referring to when he's saying build your system. We started out, and depending on how you want to define it, I was a one-man show. It was just me doing all the work. However, my wife was answering the phones and doing the bookkeeping. I was the only one drawing a paycheck at the time, but she was answering the phones and doing all the bookkeeping. I'd hate to think about how slow we would have started if I had to do all of that too. But building our system so that I had somebody else to answer the phones and do the bookkeeping made it was like a light switch moment right from the get-go. And it allowed me to focus on the customers that were standing in front of me while somebody else was focusing on the customers that were calling in. And, that was part of the system that we built. Well, now we're doing enough jobs where the bookkeeping part of it is it's not quite a 40-hour-a-week job. It's probably 20 or 30 hours a week. And so now we have somebody else answering the phones 3 to 4 days a week, and my wife only answers them 1 or 2 days a week. And the other days, she's doing all of her bookkeeping work. And again, that's all part of the system that's built. So in the beginning, if you are truly a one-man show, you're answering phones, you're doing bookkeeping, you're doing everything, it's going to get overwhelming really, really quick. So I would actually encourage you to build your system right out of the gate to where at least you have somebody doing bookkeeping. Very rarely is somebody who's really good at doing the physical work also good at doing the books. It just doesn't go hand in hand. It can.
I've said this a lot on the show. Like when I started out by myself, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like when Jorge sent us those emails in the beginning about, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, do all that stuff and do this and do that. And I want to be a one-man show. I don't know if I want to hire somebody, but, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it is a lot of work. We told him, dude, it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like literally I would work all day and then I would go home and enter invoices in.
Yeah.
Literally would just enter in everything, whether it be paid or I needed to mail them or whatever, or I never booked a lot of early morning calls. I'd get up early and do it then.
Right.
And then mail them out, first thing. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And if you can stomach it, you can make a ton of money.
Yep.
Doing it on your own. You're not paying any of that money out, but you will pay for it with something.
Yeah.
Whether it be stress, burnout later. Like that's where my problem was burnout later.
Mm-hmm.
Literally it was just, get up and work, go out and run the calls, get home and do the bookkeeping. Have a couple drinks, have dinner, go downstairs, do some more bookkeeping or enter in customers or do whatever. Yeah, we made a ton of money.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a lot of work. And if you're not used to being on that level, and to be honest, I had kind of had a little like precursor of what it was going to be, because I would work, at the companies I was at before, I would work and then be on call. And then when I was on call and down there at the office, I would see, what making my own invoices was like on the weekends, or, entering in new customers or doing whatever. So I kind of knew, but man, if I hadn't, that would have been like just a huge punch in the face of, oh shit,
yeah.
I've got to do look at all this work I've got to do. it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared.
I'm analytical enough, so I look at it straight from like uptime and downtime. And if I'm out there doing, for us, it's a plumbing business. So if I'm out there doing plumbing repairs, that's uptime. That's bringing money in.
That's making money time.
Yeah. Downtime is going to be things that I'm doing that don't make the company money. And so that would be like answering the phones. Yes, I totally get that you can't make money on a call unless you answer the phone, but you also can't make money in a business unless you do bookkeeping, right?
Yeah.
But you've got sales and then you've got supporting roles. And sales is uptime and supporting roles is downtime. And so I look at it just like, okay, my skill set is plumbing and sales. So I'm going to go spend as much time as I can in that area. And if I can go, I average somewhere around like $1,500 to $2,000 a day in revenue whenever I'm running calls. And those are conservative numbers, but let's just say $2,000 a day is a benchmark number, right? Well, if I have to spend a day doing bookkeeping, that just cost me $2,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
Right? So now all of a sudden me doing the bookkeeping just got really expensive. I can hire a bookkeeper for a month for way less than that. So if I can alleviate myself of a month of bookkeeping for one day in the field, heck yeah, I'll do that every chance I can, right?
I know lots of companies, they think of it like in an hourly perspective, for every man we have in the field, we're making $400 an hour.
Right.
And then they'll say, okay, so if I have to hire a full-time secretary and she's making $25 or he's making $25 an hour, it's a no-brainer, right? You're up $325.
Right.
Right before taxes.
Yep.
I mean, it can be that simple to just turn those numbers down to hourly. Especially a lot of the guys I know that do that. They're 4, 5, 6 guy shop. They're not huge.
Yeah.
They're not, and it makes it easier for you to comprehend what's actually going on.
Right.
And how can I save money? Where can I spend money? Where's it wise for me to spend money? Do I need to take this day off? And go or a lot of guys, if this guy takes off and I'm used to being in the shop as the owner, I can't be in the shop that day because this guy's off.
Right.
So we're out that $325 an hour. I have to go out and work for that guy. Lots of guys kind of run into the mentality of, I'm an owner, I'm in the office, I don't go out and work. Well, think of it as when that guy's out, and if you stay in the shop, you're losing $325 an hour. Guess what? Your ass is out there working.
Right.
Because you're like, I've got to fill that gap.
Right. Yeah. As soon as you start compartmentalizing it into where you make your money and how much money you make when you're doing that, then it just becomes painfully obvious to say, well, just keep doing that and then hire somebody to do the other stuff. You can hire a bookkeeper, especially if you're a one-man show. Your books are fairly easy.
Yeah, they're not bad.
You can hire a bookkeeper for, a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
And they'll jump into your books digitally and they'll straighten them all out for you and then be done.
It takes that guy. If you're just starting out, I'm just going to tell you, like, it took me a while to figure it out for those first 2 months.
Yeah.
I was down there 2.5 hours a night.
Yeah.
After 6 months, it took me 15 minutes.
Yep.
I had to struggle to learn how to do those things. Like, oh shit, and what do I do? Where do I categorize things?
And as home service people, we know all too well, because we've seen it time and time again. We've heard the stories. Customers will have tried to work on something for 8 or 10 hours and then give up and call us, and we go in 10 minutes and get it fixed.
Yeah.
And it's just the experience and the past knowledge that we've gained. We know what we're doing, right? Well, guess what? Your bookkeeper knows what they're doing too.
Yeah.
And
they know better than you. It's okay.
Yeah. And so as you're building your system, build it so that you have some of those key roles happening from the get-go. Answering the phones is probably one of the harder ones. I talk to a lot of younger entrepreneurs and younger people in business, and they're still answering their phones. And to me, that's the scariest thing ever, because you're literally, you cannot give great service to a person on the phone and a person in person at the exact same time. And so you could let that phone call go to voicemail, and then hope that they don't immediately hang up and then call the next person on the phone book or the next person on Google. You don't know what their issue is. And if their issue is my basement is flooding, well, they're not going to leave it up to when you might return a voicemail. They're going to call somebody else and get somebody out there right away.
Yeah, most people will give you about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If it's an emergency, they give you 3 minutes.
There are some very big companies out there that they require the phones picked up before the third ring, because they've found, like, they've gone so far with it that they found if it rings 4 times, the customer interaction is already starting in a bad path.
Yeah. And most people are looking for phone answers all the time.
Yep.
Because no one's doing it.
No one's doing it, right.
I mean, come on. So there's crazy and there's insane.
They're
2 different things.
What gets measured improves, and sometimes they're measuring a little too much.
That's right.
So, but the idea that you're going to start your business and not have some of this stuff platformed out and templated out is kind of crazy. And so if you're listening to this show, it's because you want to start a good business, and you're dedicating now 25, 30 minutes of your time just on this one episode to try to improve your business. And so if that's you, then you at least have the capacity to understand that you need to give yourself a little bit of a framework to work within, and to understand that, like, there's literally not a job in our company that I can't do, but there are definitely jobs that are way more smart for me to do than other jobs. Our ladies took my the 2 ladies that answer our phones, my wife and the other lady, they took my scheduling privileges away from me, because, as you guys both know, Dave and Austin, I get pulled in so many different directions so fast. I'm
not buying the pulled in different directions.
Well, he means like he forgot to tell me that.
No, he's got fucking ADHD and he forgets what the fuck he's doing, and he just rolls on to something else.
That could be it too.
He texted me today and says, "Hey, do you want to start at 5 today?" I said, "Yeah, let's do that. That would help me. I got to get home." Okay, I show up at 4:45. Austin's not going to be here till 5:30.
Yeah.
What? You fucking called me.
I forgot
to do some scheduling.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you got 2 women doing your job now. Is that sexist?
No.
I was sitting there. I literally sent him a picture of my food because I cooked it probably the best chicken I've ever cooked in my life, like dry brine and everything. And he's like, "Hey,
Dave just
got here." I'm like, "Oh."
Do you know what I had for dinner today?
What?
Nothing.
As I'm here,
I went home.
I
took a freaking shower. I changed my shit. I come fucking right over here. I thought, okay, I'll get over there.
Yeah.
Get it done. I'll get home. I have some dinner. No, I've been up since 5 this morning. I ate fucking 1 sandwich today at noon. I'm starving.
So
Yes, it's a pity party. For one. Yes. Thank you all.
Pity party for Dave.
Yeah.
Moment of silence.
Yeah, please send me emails.
So, there are times where in delegation it can be difficult, right? Especially if you're
a micromanager.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be difficult.
Well, no, I just think he has...
It's hard for you to give up control of something that you've worked so hard to get perfect.
No, it's not for me, it's not a control thing. For me, it's I way underestimate how much time something's going to take. And for me, it's
you think it's going to be 5 minutes and
I don't have a problem doing that for you. Like, if a call comes in and my wife is away from the phone, my inclination is to go pick up the phone. Like, I don't have a problem picking up that. I'll take the call. I'll book the call, right? When that's her job, right? So she'll come running in from the other room and she'll be like, "Don't you dare touch that fucking phone." Right? And that's just my like, I want to help everybody, right? Yeah. I want to do as much as I can.
Yeah, I couldn't get her to answer the phone when they first stared. Now she won't let him answer the phone. I call her one day. I said, "Hey, I called your plumbing service number. I don't remember why I called you. I was looking for something." And didn't Danielle call you back? No. Like, when was that? 3 hours ago.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. And now she won't let him answer the phone.
Yep.
That's funny.
So
the twist of irony.
Being able to do all of that is key. And like, I know that firsthand because I'm inclined to want to answer the phone. I'm inclined to want to book the call. I'm inclined to want to go run an errand for one of my guys in the field. But I find myself more and more realizing that's what puts me crazy overwhelmed. Like, I had a whole list of shit that I wanted to do today. And then one of my guys got his truck stuck in the mud and I had to go pull him out. Well, that meant that was about an hour of my time that I had to give up in order to go pull him out of the mud. And so there was an hour of shit that I had on my to-do list that either won't get done or I now have to stay up later tonight to get it done. So, it's very easy to get, if you're the one having to do everything, it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And so, putting systems in place, your job as a business owner is to build the system. So putting systems in place to have other people that you can rely on to do that stuff for you is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to, like, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Stephanie answers the phones for us, and it's pretty cool to know that the phones are being answered Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and, like, that frees up Danielle's schedule to do bookkeeping. It frees up my schedule, because now I don't even have to hear the calls that are happening, so it frees up my schedule to really dive in and get into the spreadsheets and all of that kind of shit. So, but it goes all the way back down to the basics. When you are starting your company, you're doing everything, but hopefully if you did it right, you built a system that alleviates a lot of those tasks as fast as humanly possible. And if you can alleviate those tasks as fast as humanly possible, you're going to do really, really well.
I can see the need too, going off that. Like, when I remember when I used to like run a McDonald's for like the year that I did, it's like you can do things faster, like 4 times faster than anybody else, but having to stand there and let somebody else do that, and the pain of like watching them do it so much slower, but they have to do it because that's their job.
Right. And
just the itching to get in there and be like, oh, I can just do it so much quicker. And
get the fuck out of my way and watch me go.
There's a mental struggle there too, right? So like, let's just say it's McDonald's, right? Let's say you can make 10 burgers in a minute, and the person that you've trained to do the job is only making 7 burgers in a minute. And so it's killing you because you're 3 burgers down. Well, as you're growing a business, now you hire 2 burger people. So now, whereas you could only make 10 in a minute, now you hire 2 that are doing each 7 in a minute. So now you're 14 in a minute.
You okay?
You got something stuck in my throat.
Are you dying?
No.
Okay.
Like a DeMar
did I sound excited? Did I sound like I was excited or worried?
I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I'll have to listen back. I might have sounded excited.
You might have.
I believe myself. I'm over here. I'm like, oh, it's DeMar.
And so you get home and your wife's packing a bag and you're like, are you moving out? Does it sound like you're worried or happy?
Yeah.
I'm just going down the street to my friends. Oh, dang. Shit. How'd that come off? Did I sound like I wanted to move out? Did I sound like I was happy or sad? We'll listen to that later.
As you're doing burgers and you get 2 people that are each making 7 burgers a minute, so now you're making 14 burgers a minute. So now collectively, you're doing more than what you could do by yourself, right? And so there's an old saying that goes, if you want to go fast, go by yourself, and if you want to go far, go together, right? That's essentially what you're doing. You're building a system that's going to take you far. Because without that system in place, you're not going to make it very far in business. You'll literally burn out.
What I've noticed, too, is if you end up being that person that tries to step in, people will just watch you.
Yes.
So then they'll be less productive. And like, whoa, he's stepping in and doing all my work for me. So, man, I got a good day today.
Yeah.
Or the 2 people you hire make it up to 9 burgers a piece. Now they're making 18, and now they want $18 an hour, and you say, you're fired. I built a robot to make 55 burgers an hour. Wait, I don't know what to tell you.
Mitch, what were you going to say on that?
I sidetracked him with the burgers.
Yeah. I'm watching it. I'm like, Dave just threw like a wrench into that.
This is my job.
True story from my management days is I was that over-pleasing manager. Just like what you said. I would step in and try to do it for them, and then they got them to rely on me a lot, right? I was also not, early in my manager days, I was not very good at teaching people how to do stuff. I would tell them how to do it, but not teach them how to do it. And so what ended up happening was they would just rely on me for all the answers. And so when somebody would get into the field and encounter a problem they didn't know how to solve, they would call me. And I would answer the phone, and I would solve it over the phone, and I would walk away. And I was naive being young. I thought that was a good thing. I'm like patting myself on the back of like, haha, I can solve plumbing problems over the phone, and all this stuff, right?
Doesn't teach them how to figure it out for
themselves. Doesn't teach them how to figure it out, right? And so
they're not growing. They're just like they're a robot out there.
So once I learned all that, and once I started realizing that, I don't have self-supportive people out there. I've got basically like little robots that need my brain to go out and do this stuff.
Smedley.
That's not
Smedley robots.
Smedley minions.
Yeah, not good, right? So then I came up with this exercise, and what it was if anybody called me, I would not answer the phone for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'd call them back. And 5 or 10 minutes, if they have to wait that long, it's not the end of the world, right? But what I found,
they'd figure it out.
Yeah.
80% of the time, when I'd call them back, they'd say, "Never mind, I got to figure it out."
Like if I ever were to go back to McDonald's again, which I never will, that's the first thing I would do is I just want to answer my phone for like an hour.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we used to call that cell phone mentality. Mm-hmm. Like, so when we were just doing new homes, builders would just call, "Hey, what about this? What about this?" They wouldn't even think about anything for 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. They would immediately just go, "I don't know," and they'd call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you quit answering the phone, like you just said, and someone had to think for just 1 minute, they could figure out the problem.
Yep.
I mean, that's the problem with the cell phone, right?
Yeah.
It's like this. It's just immediate gratification right now, or problem solving right now. But you don't grow this is completely off topic. You don't grow as a society at all if you're not teaching people how to deal with their own problems.
Yeah. Yeah. And the same can be said for Google too. Like, now you can almost Google virtually any answer out there.
Oh, and I love me some Google, man.
And if you know how to do it, it helps you get to answers faster. But I am a little worried that the next generations don't know how to develop their own answers. Like,
they're in trouble, dude.
I've said for years that you're actually there's probably going to be courses for how to use the internet effectively, because there's so much of a rabbit's nest that can come from the internet to where you're relying on the internet for the answers and you're not actually growing as a person, right?
Yeah, like we didn't have the internet. So then when the internet came out, it was just another tool.
Yeah.
Well, now these kids have the internet and they don't even really know how to use the internet.
Yeah, like the internet should confirm what you're thinking rather than tell you what to think.
Yeah, it's a little
I have a great example. So the car, I just bought Janine. I knew that it had a little carburetor issue. Mm-hmm. Like I could see in the video the guy driving it. First off, never buy a car unseen. But to be honest, I'd been looking for 4 months. So beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
Well, I knew that the carburetor something was going on with it, and it seemed to me like the floats were off or one of the needle and seat was off, and it wasn't. It would hesitate. I know how to change those. Okay, I know how to get in there. But what did I do? I went on Google anyway.
Yeah.
And I had the repair kit, and I thought, I'm just going to check real quick. And just like you said, I was right. Yep. But I did learn, the height of that float is this, and I thought it was this.
Yeah.
So got it all together, fired it up, ran like a champ. But if you don't even know what to look for, you don't even know where to begin.
Yep.
And it's just like especially our industry, if you hire a kid straight out of when DeVry was a real thing, and you just say, okay, you have your degree, go out there. Well, he gets out there, he doesn't even know where to start.
No.
So he immediately calls you.
Yep.
You have to train your gals to think for themselves. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you're hiring people that are a little more inept than that, but
yeah. And you
never know.
My big push this year is for me to document one process a week in our company. I want to be able to have not necessarily like a process manual, but right now all of our processes that we do in our company are spoken. We only have one written process in the entire company. And
breakfast on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Even that's spoken.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to have documentation for that, and so that way it can be like that's the standard. And so that way, that's the benchmark that people are now measured from. And if we need to adjust it, we can. But that's also the standard. Like if somebody starts performing poorly, now we have this process to say you're not meeting these expectations. So it becomes the tool that we'll fire people with. I mean, it's the nature of the business. Eventually you have to fire people.
Yeah, it just happens.
But it's kind of hard to fire somebody if it's like, I told you not to do that 3 months ago. Instead of
it's not in the handbook.
Process is this. We've gone over this. We went over this last week. You weren't meeting these steps of the process. You still aren't. Like it gives you context, right?
And once you get big enough, like they have those written policies. If you get written, quote unquote, written up, and then they sign off on it. But yeah, you should. Yep. You're getting to the point.
Yeah, we're knocking on those doors fast. So, but ultimately too, it's just like Ken Goodrich says, it's your job as a business owner to build the system so that your employees know what to do in order to profitably deliver your services to the customers. I have to build that system, and I've built the system. It's just not documented. It's just all verbal. But getting it documented is the key.
Well, and it's easy to say that when you start writing that stuff down, you'd be like, oh man, forgot about this. Oh man, forgot about that. And it's, it's a lot more in depth than you may remember it being.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a daunting thing to write one process a week because some of these processes are pretty in depth, pretty lengthy.
Yeah, so you're probably going to have 25.
But
at least to
processes for how we answer the phones, processes for how we close a call out. Where we're asking for their Google review and, all of that kind of stuff. Like all of those things are things that could be documented so that they can be replicated.
How fast does your wife type?
I can type. I can actually type pretty fast. And I mean, with talk to text now, like you can whip out processes pretty fast.
That talk to text sucks.
Well,
okay,
you do. So
people send me stuff all the time, and I'm like, the rabbit ran left at the what?
Yeah,
stop.
True story. Here's a funny story about talk to text. The company I worked at 2 companies ago, the big one, they had 22 plumbers, and my job as a manager was to periodically go through the invoices and check on them and everything, and they would use talk to text. I'm reading through one of these invoices, and literally, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I can't remember exactly what it said, but the invoice was like, I arrived to find the basement had water in it because the sump pump failed, and if you wait 10 minutes, I'll come home and put it where you want me to put it. And I'm like, oh my, and I'm being PC. It was bad. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's on the customer's invoice that got emailed to him, right?
Oh, shit.
So what it was he was talk to texting on his work tablet for his invoice, and he was talk to texting to his girlfriend at the same time on his phone, and one of them quit, like his
like he got him confused.
No, his work invoice picked up like what the other one was.
He thought it was off.
He didn't hit off on his
He didn't
tablet.
hit off, and so it carried over. And
oh shit!
I
love it.
Yeah. So watch out on your talk to texts and like proofread your invoices.
I was just thinking for you, like if you had someone that could literally type as fast as you could talk, you could just sit down and just boom. Nail them all out.
Yeah.
Nail a lot of them out really fast.
They've got dictation apps and everything else for all that kind of stuff. So
they're okay. They're all right.
Mine isn't necessarily the talking as much as it is just the organizing it so that it makes sense. Putting a good structure to it. So, but
Sounds like you got shit to do.
I got shit to do for sure.
Well, I didn't realize how sloppy I talked until voice to text came out. And I'm like, I got to enunciate this better. Because I talk really fast and really sloppy.
Enunciate.
So
I'm sitting there being like, the Red Rover.
Yeah. Pro tip
you can't say stuff like, I like, be like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You just can't do it.
Pro tip for talk to texting is on any device that you have, if it's an Android device, you can download the Google Gboard, and their talk to text is, I don't know what the right word is, it learns you. And so it starts out a little rough, but it gets a lot smarter as time goes on. And
really?
Yeah, I've had it for years, and it's freaking dead on accurate. Like, dead on accurate. So, and it's even got a little switch to where, like, if you cuss, it'll put the first letter of the cuss word and then asterisks. And like, you could say shithead, and it would have the exact number of asterisks for
Perfect.
shithead.
No.
But then you can turn that off and actually let it say shithead, too. So it's kind of fun.
Mine would just be a bunch of words and asterisks.
Yeah.
And it would just be like a lot of asterisks.
It'd just be F asterisks, F asterisks.
What is he saying? What the hell?
That's funny.
What the H asterisks?
A lot of the stuff that we were talking about today is also in the book that we've referenced over and over and over called The E-Myth. If you go to look for it now, it's The E-Myth Revisited. Ken Goodrich does like $1 million in sales a year. The E-Myth Revisited has sold over 1 million copies. We preach this stuff on the show, so you don't have to just take our word for it. Take these other millions of examples for it. Your job as the business owner is to build the systems that your employees work from. So make sure you're doing that. You're going to build that system, and then you're going to do all of those tasks initially, and then as you grow, you're going to start delegating all those tasks off. So that is the key to not get overwhelmed in business. So, again, this was another kind of tactical show for you guys, a little bit less of the motivational stuff, and a little bit less of the social topics and a little bit more tactical business stuff. So, if you guys are liking the tactical stuff, please do us a favor and send us an email to askmitch@mitchsmedley.com. And give us your feedback. If you like the show, let us know. If you hate the show, let us know. We've got thick skin. You're not going to say anything that's going to hurt our feelings, so we want your feedback. The whole purpose of this show is to give you guys the tools that you need to succeed, and your feedback helps us do that dramatically. So until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Appreciate it, guys.